you know, we used to think that mental health doesn't concern us, and all we need to bother about is our physical health. If we have diabetes, if we are going to get cancer, all of that. But I think the COVID-19 pandemic has done mental health advocacy some service. You know, in every situation, there's a good side. And I seriously think that the pandemic has helped us mental health advocates to bring mental health awareness and advocacy to the forefront, to the point where the UN Secretary General had a meeting with the CEO of the global organization I belong to, and they talked about mental health, and they came up with some policy, and it's on social media. So we are working on a project, and yeah, I organized a mental health open day, mental health matters open day in this city. And this is the presentation my team and I put together. And I thought it would be good to share it with you. There are 23 slides, but I'm just going to skip over some of them. And then the whole idea is to get us kind of share knowledge about what mental health is, what mental illness is, why we should be aware, and what we can do to take care of our mental health so we don't have a crisis, or we don't have challenges we don't know how to take care of. In the meantime, I also share some other things in the group on the website, WorldPulse, on what to do, the signs to look out for, or how to take care of yourself. I hope some people have seen that. I saw some comments. I thank you, Karen and Jill and stuff. So slide 1 and 2 and 3, I think that just preliminary mental awareness and care. Mental health matters. In my office, I have it sprayed on the walls. Everybody knows I'm about mental health. Not only because I'm a mental health consumer myself, but because I'm so passionate about it. So in the presentation, you have the table of contents, the myths on mental health. You know, that I don't know about you in your own communities and countries, but in my country, one of the myths is that, mental health, it's nothing to be bothered about. I mean, you just have to pray and you always be in good shape. And if you're not in good shape, then there should be some witchcraft involved or some spiritual stuff involved. And so why is it important to be aware? What are the symptoms to look out for? How do we prevent it? Types of mental health disorders and effects of mental health disorders. Well, in a nutshell, that is it. So how do I get this down? Yes, I can hide that. Mental health refers to our psychological and emotional well-being in a nutshell. Our state of wellness affects how we think, feel, and how we handle stress and how we relate to each other. Okay, the stress of the pandemic, the stress of our job, the stress of managing the children, the stress of relationships, the stress of even friendships and toxic relationships, all of that. Our mental health can be affected. Yep, and when it's affected, it becomes a mental health challenge or a full disorder, like when you go and get now a diagnosis from the psychiatrist. For example, I live with post-traumatic stress disorder. Of course, with the outbreak of COVID, we have been affected in one way or the other. And a lot of people have shared it. I attended a training by May Ann. And she brought a psychotherapist, and he was really focusing on how we could take care of ourselves. I don't know if there was a recording. So talking about our mental health means we are going crazy? No. Mental health challenges and disorders are caused by witchcraft or spiritual possessions or attack? No. There is no cure for mental disorders or mental illnesses. Well, this is me doing all what I'm doing. I know people even with schizophrenia. I know people with bipolar disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, all of them in our group who are doing just really well in life. So people living with a mental illness can live a productive life, so they don't need to be locked up. Importance of mental health awareness. Well, it's important so that you can raise awareness and make it matter just like physical health. It's important to keep talking about it so we eliminate the stigma I mean, I was surprised in the forum, people were saying, oh, people with COVID are stigmatized. And I'm like, why are they stigmatized? And well, I got to learn why they're stigmatized. And I'm like, well, people need to be speaking up. Even if I have COVID today, I'm going to write, I'm going to blog about it every day. I've watched other people out there write about their experience with COVID. Some recover, some don't recover. But that's life, right? So it's also good to be aware so we can learn and know what to do. You know, when you're not aware, you don't know what to do. You start to suspect people. You think it's your village people, your uncle in the village, your boss, and all of those kind of people who have thrown a, what do we call it? Who have thrown a, what, an ill luck, who have wished you ill luck. And when we are aware, it creates a feeling of support. We have a support group. Look at Thriving Thursday for me is a support group. It's like, I don't want to find myself anywhere else at this hour than in front of my laptop or my phone. So talking about mental illness, even about our mental health, our day-to-day struggles, will help us realize we are not alone. And of course, that treatment is available, be it through medication, be it through therapy, be it in a support group. It's very important. Symptoms of mental health challenges: when you feel anxious or worried. We all get worried or stressed from time to time, but when that anxiety starts to impair your day-to-day activities, then that's a cause for concern. That is when it constantly interferes all the time. Emotional outbursts, like the least thing, you are blowing up, you are so angry. Yeah, the mood swings can come, but when those mood swings start to lead to extreme distress or anger, and you blow up, you beat up the children, you ruin everything, you leave the meeting, you all of those things. I mean, I think we can identify with them. Sleep problem is very important. Yeah, I'm a psychotherapist too, right? So I'm also talking like somebody who is working with clients. When you start sleeping 4 hours, 3 hours, or you wake up a lot, that is a problem. Or when you sleep too much, some people, it's very difficult to wake them up. I remember when my brother was here, my brother also had a mental illness. I still don't have the exact diagnosis. He died in 2014. He would take his medication and sleep sometimes 11 hours. He would sleep from one day to the next and then just wake up and drowse. But that was even when he was on medication. Even before getting on medication, there were times when he would sleep too much, and there were times when he would not even sleep. So those are all signs. Insomnia could be a sign of anxiety or of something worse. Quiet or withdrawn. Yeah, I like my quiet time, but if I stay quiet for too long, people should be concerned about it. If I don't want to connect online again, I mean, now with the lockdown, we are not, I don't know, me, I am not keen on going out to meet my friends again or visit my family. But if there was no lockdown and you don't go out, people have to be worried. And when you start feeling guilty or worthless, today I was reading a book. I'm also a very spiritual person. So I was reading about guilt and how it is not good to be guilty, to feel guilty. When you start feeling guilty, you think it's your responsibility to change the situation. And there are some things we cannot change. And when we carry those thoughts, they fill us up with negative thoughts, and we think we are a failure, we think it's our fault, we think we are worthless. We start to self-criticize ourselves and self-blame ourselves, and that's not good. So prevention of mental health challenges. There is a primary prevention, that is stopping problems before they start. From all what I have said, some things we can do to prevent getting stressed up is, for example, desensitizing, is, for example, watching our sleep. I mean, for the past 5 days, I have told myself, you are sleeping 6 hours, Mark. If you don't sleep for 6 hours, you don't leave that bed, you don't go to the toilet, you don't put on your phone, nothing. I'm trying to discipline myself to have a good sleep hygiene. So that's one way. So I don't become confused during the day. I don't get irritated. I don't get nervous. I don't get impatient. Those are all signs. Those are all things we can do to promote good mental health. Primary prevention work is universal in that it targets and benefits everyone in a community. For example, anti-stigma campaigns, like what I do, I just talk non-stop about mental health. Everything I say, there's something connecting mental health there. And I think it has helped a lot of people. Well, it has, because I've created 2 support groups on Facebook. No, one on Facebook, that one is for moms, and on my Facebook pages and on WhatsApp, yeah, the Global Mental Health Peer Network Cameroon group. I've selected the Global Mental Health Peer Network Regional Representative for Africa. So I'm in charge of connecting all the country representatives in Africa. I really hope, I cannot see you, I hope I'm still connected, because I just saw a notification that my bandwidth is low. Am I?
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, so it's very important for each of us to know, and to know that each thing we do can also be a contribution to primary prevention of mental health challenges. Secondary prevention, supporting those at higher risk of experiencing mental health problems. I mean, we know our friends, we know our family members. Some have temperaments, some have moods, some are pregnant. For example, when you are pregnant, your hormones are fluctuating and you cannot, you may be struggling. That is it. And if somebody can push you to an edge. I think we have heard of postpartum depression. Some of the issues start while we are pregnant. Some of the issues even start during conception. And so when you see those things, when you know these things, you can actually help people who are higher risk. We also have people who are internally displaced. They are higher risk because they are already traumatized from the displacements. We have people, volatile people, street children, people in low income areas in our community, people with, I mean, we all know those kind of people. So supporting those at higher risks of mental health problems, we can do this by providing targeted help and support. For example, the programs we organize, we can include mental health awareness and support. We can just talk. We can have centers, you know, we can start preaching, only talking about messages, or talking about messages that address trauma, like domestic violence victims. We can stop supporting hate crimes, body shaming messages. Those are the kind of things we can do. We never know who is reading our messages, who is listening to what we say. And I think that was something Sherna also talked about in her training. Now, tertiary prevention, helping people living with mental health problems, like myself, like the other people in my group. Mental health problems, for example, people, children with autism, some of them have comorbid challenges, right? Epilepsy, for example, comes with its own problems. It might not be a mental health disorder, but it comes with mental health challenges. It comes with stigma. It comes with the frustration of not being able to do the things you normally do. And the carers, like the mothers, the parents, they have their own challenges too, which can affect their mental health, get them depressed. So what can we do? We can come up with programs, you know, specific programs, support groups for this, support groups for that. Those programs can reduce the symptoms by sharing all the information and linking people to resource persons. I also belong to a group on WhatsApp. I just joined the group. We are trying to build a community of practice psychiatrists, mental health nurses, social workers, all of that, so that we know where we can refer people to, and we come up with campaigns that we can start sharing so that people become more and more informed and more empowered. So that even if they have more problems and symptoms, they can know how to manage them or know who to go to. And types of mental health disorders, this one is just for information purposes, but one never knows, right? It's good to know mood disorders such as depression or bipolar disorder, It affects our moods, ranging from depressive lows to manic highs and all of that. Anxiety disorders, some people are so anxious. What do you have? Obsessive compulsive disorder. Those are spectrums of anxiety disorder. Uh, what do we have again? Personality disorders. You've heard of borderline personality disorders, multiple personality disorders, avoidance disorders, what? Social phobia and all of that. Psychotic disorders such as schizophrenia, uh, eating disorders, yes, eating disorders such as overeating or bulimia, or how do you call it? All of it is coming at my head at the same time. Anorexia.
Oops, I think we lost Marie. Can you hear us?
But these are serious conditions, and these people really need help. Trauma-related disorders like myself, post-traumatic stress disorder, yeah, illnesses caused by terrifying experiences or significant stress. These experiences are subjective. What is terrifying to me may not be terrifying to you. And it could be a series of experiences, childhood trauma, domestic abuse, what? All of that, those are series of experiences. Must not only be war, it could be witnessing violence, neglected as a child, being in a car accident, losing a loved one, all of that. Substance abuse disorders. Some people abuse substances like crack, like meth, and all of that to help them cope with their mental health challenges. Other people abuse substance to the point where their mental health, they go delusional. I was watching something on YouTube, a young girl in America, I think called Amanda. Her substance abuse has just messed her up. So that's really unfortunate. Now, what are the effects of psychological disorders on society or the community? This is why we have to take this up as a community, because even if it's just one person, I think the neighborhood is affected, the families are affected, community as a whole are affected. So even if the majority of individuals with mental illness do not exhibit dangerous behaviors, sometimes when somebody kills their spouse, we are like, there were no signs. Oh yeah, there were signs, but we as a community just ignore those signs because, well, it was happening in their home. But the man must have been violent somehow. There is passive aggression, there is a manipulative aggression, all of that. So we need to pay a little more attention. Uh, so that is why it affects the society, because when something like that happens, the collective psyche is affected. Everybody is so touched. We are so sorry. We lose sleep for some of us. We try to reach out. Why didn't we do that before, right? Okay, so it can place a significant financial and social burden on communities and psychological burden and all of that. Individuals with psychological disorders are at greater risk for decreased quality of life, educational difficulties, lower productivity. Effects of psychological disorders on families. Wow. Families, somebody was sharing, you don't have much time again. You withdraw. The society judges you. You are stigmatized. Uh, you yourself, your quality of life decreases. You don't have a lot. You don't have enough time for yourself. You don't even have time to build that family bond anymore. The burden of taking care of the person is just too much. Yes, so you suffer from reduced social participation. Your physical and mental health might just be at as much risk as of the person who is suffering. And I once worked in a psychiatric ward, and I tried to organize a come together for the families, the carers, so that they at least have time. And I try to make them understand that you cannot be the same person in the morning and at night, all of that. Even if you are the mother, you need your own time to just sleep, mama. I used to say to the moms, and the moms wouldn't want to leave their loved ones. It used to be boys. I was working mainly with boys who had abused substance and they had lost it. Those are the ones that are usually brought to the psychiatry ward, but also some men who have just lost it completely. And yeah, basically those ones. But now in my practice, I work with a lot other people, women with emotional problems and stuff like that. But yeah, I really had to make the families understand you have to. If not, you'll be the next person who will be admitted at the hospital. So in a nutshell, mental health matters just like physical health. Awareness is vital. A mental health disorder is like any other physical ailment and can be treated. No to stigma, show love and compassion to persons living with a mental health challenge or a mental illness. Think about vulnerable people, their families and caregivers. There were also notes in my presentations, so you could go and read about it. Think about the medical personnel, think about the frontliners, think about people, reach out to somebody today and don't be quick to judge somebody by what you read on Facebook. You don't know why the person acted that way. You don't know what has been going on, stuff like that. Let's hold on before we make some of those comments which could actually push somebody to an edge. So are we now sensitized on mental health? Are we now aware of some symptoms and types of mental health disorders? Do we now know how to take care of our mental health and help others struggling? Can we show compassion and support families and caregivers of people who are mentally ill or challenged? That's my hope, right? So thank you for your kind attention.